What is the biggest mistake most people make when it comes to manifesting? And what are the three traps that can stop you in your tracks? Finally, you will have the solution to solving all four. Ready? What is the biggest mistake most people make when it comes to manifesting? And what are the three traps that can stop you in your tracks? Finally, you will have the solution to solving all four. Most, consciously or subconsciously, do not bring about their desired consistent results because they don't invest the time dwelling in the solution, in the results, as theirs. They don't consistently invest the time needed for true, lasting transformations. I've always mentioned many times in my previous videos that you must overcome yourself by knowing what you want and then imagining and visualizing it as yours already and feeling it as yours now. Not someday, but now. And you must frequently and consistently do so. Now, like many, you may have your vision, your goal. Perhaps you have acknowledged the need to dwell in or live in the end of your wish fulfilled, to think from that visualized mental state of having it, what it would feel like, what it would be like to have your goal fulfilled. However, perhaps you're still too caught up in the negative mental quagmire of not having it. Perhaps you feel that your blocks or challenges are unique and especially difficult. So you come to the websites and Facebook sites or here on YouTube and you seek answers, but you may not truly get it, comprehend it, or apply it. And certainly you are not doing it consistently. If so, this video is for you. Now, I hope you get the spirit of what I'm sharing here. It's not new. The ancients taught it, and other greats such as Napoleon Hill, Neville Goddard, Bob Proctor, and even in more recent years, such amazing minds and teachers such as Dr. Joe Dispenza. Now, the basics for transformation that lead to practical, real-life changes are available in abundance. But first, understand this. Using these laws, such as the Lawofassumption from Neville Goddard, and using our powerful imagination in a focused, specific way, does not dismiss your present world realities as perhaps not being troublesome, actual, and challenging. We have our eyes wide open to our current facts and circumstances. For example, the bills that need to be paid, our health, perhaps sad events in our world or in our personal lives, maybe aging and sickness, perhaps losing of a loved one, or perhaps you're dealing with someone in your life who's behaving badly in a relationship and it's challenging. It might be work or career difficulties. The list goes on, and I'm sure you could add to it. So we acknowledge real-world experiences that we might be facing. However, the law is that we can, while still facing challenges and living in these imperfect flesh and bone bodies, improve or even transform much about our circumstances and current world through the power of these universal laws. This is what I have experienced personally, along with dozens of my personal one-on-one students and in my group classes. Yes, we do indeed become what we think about, as Earl Nightingale so wonderfully put in his famous item, which is called The Strangest Secret. The Strangest Secret can be watched and should be watched and rewatched over and over, and you can find it easily right here on YouTube. We can move forward and transcend our challenges in spite of them. We can become healthier, accept and be at peace when or after even losing a loved one. We can achieve a desired career change, move to another home or location if you so desire. You can have the needed money for more than just bills and even expand your wealth. You can bring in the right things and meet the right people and forward your life. It is possible for you to manifest or unite with a desired romantic partner. We can achieve personal goals. However, here are the 3 traps that can halt your success. Number 1. So you've tried some of the techniques that you've learned, and it feels great. It feels awesome, especially the very first time or first few times you use a new method or technique. But then, you never seem to get the same burst of enjoyment after a while. So you assume that perhaps this method has lost its effect. What's really happening? What's really happening is your body and mind simply have adjusted to your new state of ease and joy, perhaps faster than you thought it would. So the technique is actually still effective. It can still work and is actually still working if you're practicing it exactly as it should without you even realizing it. Now, you can avoid that trap of giving up too easily and be ready for it, and then you'll be just fine. Now, trap number 2. It's much the opposite. Not only did it not feel great right away, but it doesn't feel amazing after the first few tries. So you assume that you're doing it wrong, or it just doesn't work for you. But what you don't realize is that you may simply need to do it 5, 10, or more times before really starting to enjoy it and begin to feel the effects. It's not that it's not an uncomfortable feeling. It very well might be. What is new to us, like a new suit of clothing, is uncomfortable before it becomes comfortable. Like that pair of blue jeans that was stiff when it was brand new, but now after wearing those blue jeans for a long time, that becomes your favorite pair of clothes, that nice, worn, comfortable feeling of those blue jeans, because you didn't give up on them. You continue to wear them. It's the same with a method. You must continue to wear it and practice it to see the good effects. Remember, your ego and your subconscious hate change. What? Yes. Your ego and your subconscious are designed to protect you. And so it feels you're protecting you, but actually it's protecting you from yourself, from your own self-desired improvements in your life. So the advice is, again, is continue to practice it anyway, and it will become comfortable, and you will see the effects if you keep practicing it. Number 3, trap number 3, and this is really kind of the wackiest trap of them all. The technique is super fun, and right away you begin to manifest and you see things happening in your life. Results are coming. It's happening. It's amazing. Now that shouldn't surprise you at all, because that's what the methods are actually designed to do, the ones that I've given in previous videos and the ones that I'll be giving you in the future, along with those amazing teachers I mentioned, formally just mentioned for you. But here's what happens. For some seemingly unknown, strange reason that you really can't understand or figure out, you stop doing the methods or techniques before things really begin to have a chance to have their full effect and continue to transform your life. Then, the ego finds a way again to sneak in through the back door when you're not really looking. And remember, the ego and the subconscious are more powerful than perhaps anything that you consciously think of and the conscious efforts that you make, because they're trying to protect you. So it can stop you dead in your tracks, especially when it's absolutely terrified of the changes that are starting to unfold for you. Just like that first time you snorkeled or scuba dived or tried something new, you were scared. But after practicing, it became comfortable and you began to see results. So don't let any of these three traps stop you. One of them could be, for example, you might be thinking subconsciously, well, what will they think? No one in my family has any wealth like that. No one in my world makes that kind of money or has that kind of a gorgeous, successful partner or life. Why should I? That, again, is your programming that you've received over the course of your life, your ego, your subconscious. You have to fight through that with what? Persistency. And so this is really the three traps that can stop you dead in your tracks if you don't stay aware of them. And now you can. To become what we think about, we must stay consistent, because you need to change what you currently and accept and believe, or no lasting change will take place. Otherwise, if you do see results, they're often temporary. Isn't that true? And before you know it, you fall back to your old ways. That's same-o, same-o. We've all heard of lottery winners who fall back into poverty. They win the big lottery, and before you know it, they're back to the same level they were formerly. We've also heard the opposite. We've heard of former successful business people or even millionaires who've lost everything. And before you know it, within a relatively short time, they rebuild their wealth and success, because that is who they are. Now, why is that? What is the key? Well, it's because you become what you conceive and desire to be through a change of your awareness, through a change of consciousness. You must change what holds your attention, what you focus on. Well, how can you do that? Well, you need to do it by altering what you're conscious of, that limited poverty thinking that you have. So again, you need to give your attention to the mental state of wealth and the abundant mindset, for example. Now that's done through what you choose to accept and believe as true of you, and practicing methods that are given to do so. Frankly, and again, this goes back to the biggest mistake, many just don't invest the needed reading, study, and meditation that is needed. They don't actually practice what is given. Many give up too soon. Now, this desired outcome can only happen if we consistently invest our time in imagining it true, in spite of all evidence to the contrary, and making it our mental dwelling place from which we choose to see ourselves as actually having, as actually being now. This requires not simply relying on the sweat of hard work, although discipline is needed, isn't it? But this is through self-persuasion in our heads and changing our beliefs and moving mentally past our current accepted limitations. Otherwise, as you know, your results will remain the same. Now, close to 300 years ago, William Blake put it this way. I think this is so cool if you really think into this. William Blake said, "What seems to be is to whom it seems to be." And that's why I don't argue with people. If that's what they believe, and they firmly believe it, nobody's going to be changing their mind unless they decide by taking in new ideas and information to change their mind. Again, what seems to be is to whom it seems to be. If you believe it and feel it so, it is. And it will continue to be that way unless you begin to change what you currently believe and accept through such daily practices that are needed. Take those challenges out of your mind by replacing them. That's really what we're doing. We're replacing what is unwanted out of our minds and hearts by feeding only on the right mental food daily. You want to avoid the unhealthy addictions to that garbage that's thrown at us through social media and television. Yeah, that's right. Replace the hours of wasted time and energy by doing what? By investing in yourself. Investing at least an hour a day in nourishing your mind. Can you imagine if you invested an hour a day every morning and perhaps even in the evening before sleeping, imagining and thinking about your goal? That's the investment, my friends, and it needs to be done every day. For success, we must keep our objective in mind. You need to see it as done. You need to give it our focused attention even while dealing with those current real-life problems that we have acknowledged. Results will follow, but they won't come beforehand. Again, results will follow, but will not proceed. They follow what? They follow our investing. They follow our investing of our time, changing our attitude and viewpoint. And this might include very much changing the ideas and knowledge that we absorb and think about. That's why required personal, even repetitious reading and study, sustained thought and meditation are mandatory. The powerful, consistent use of imagination is a must. Our deeper beliefs and ego must be transformed on a subconscious level, and that takes persistency and consistency. Yes, repetition of established truths must be repeated, read and reread. You got that right. I said read, in addition to listened to and watched, perhaps on YouTube. You're transcending the lower level of disbelief to a higher level, not only by believing it's possible, but by imagining you already have it. Then, through persistent and consistent time spent in that mindset, things begin to change, sometimes subtly, sometimes radically, but results will come if you stick with it. The developing mindset and growing belief must come first. So, training and daily practice are necessary. Feed on healthy mental food daily. Now, again, I mentioned reading, and something interesting that Bob Proctor said. He says, as you read and reread and study the information and the words perhaps in a book or even in a paragraph or page, we understand this, that while the words on the page are not changing, it's not the words that on the page that change. It's we ourselves that are changing through this repetition. Now, the deeper it sinks in, the greater the transformation becomes. So, avoid the self-sabotaging, self-made traps. Go back and review all three. Don't make the main mistake that most people make in manifesting, of seeking quick, fast solutions, but rather Invest in yourself. Invest the time in your desired future, and you will see consistent results. This is Robert Meade and the Power of Imagination. Imagine better than the best you know.